So yesterday I had the opportunity to interview Christine of SIG Designs. I came in thinking I could learn more about her phenomenal body of work, her technique, and the process behind her passion. But from the moment we began our dialogue, I became enthralled with what a kind, compassionate, and resilient person that she is. We ended up discussing her whole life story growing up in St. Louis, some of her toughest trials and challenges, and how she channeled all of that into a body of work composed of intricately crafted graphic designs and meticulous pencil work. Stick around till the very end to see how she personally commissioned a piece for Spike Lee. Yes, all of that right now. Coming up next is Share Your Voice STL, and as always, thank you for supporting St. Louis artists. Hi, so I have the opportunity to interview someone I call a free spirit, one of the most diligent, free-thinking, and trailblazing voices in our city. She's the founder of SIG Designs in St. Louis, focusing on Black people, Black art, and Black culture in our city. Christine, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Well, hi, y'all. I'm Christine from CIG Designs. I am a Black artist, originally a fine artist, but went digital. I also dabble a little bit in photography. I'm just a multi-renaissance woman at this day and time, you can really call me, but I center myself around Black culture, Black art, and positive role models, and just so the kids can see, hey, if this little Black girl can make it, so can you.
I'm so thankful to have you here today. So let's kind of just delve into your story a little bit. Tell us when you got your passion for graphic design, or kind of how you got into graphic design in general.
Well, I come from a background of teachers originally that went to Harris Stowe and all those universities back in the day. But me being the person that I am, didn't want to teach anybody's child. I did try early childhood education. I'm good with little kids, but when they get bigger and attitudes change, no. I decided not to do that. So I've been drawing since I was 3. It comes from my mother's genetics. She That's all I've known her ever to do. She used to draw me as I played like around in the house. She would sit there and draw me, and that's just what I've seen growing up. So when I figured I had the same ability to sit there and draw people as they're just playing or doing whatever they want, that's just the path that I chose to go. I went to Flow Valley first, um, and that was in 2000, right after high school, 18, 19 years old. I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing good. And everybody stood me away from doing just a regular fine art as a major because they said that you're an artist. You're not going to make no money doing that. So I geared myself more towards graphic design. And back then, due to the fact that I had some really great teachers, but they were older, so they taught me the old school way of graphic design. And it was right before computers really started like picking off, and that was just the way that you go. So I can do it by hand and by the computers. So I love what I do, and it's become a daily. If I can't draw, there is no other world. And for the last 5 years, I wasn't able to see. So I had went blind in my left eye for 4 years, and then within this last year, I was going blind in my right. But at the beginning of this year, both of them got fixed, so now I can see clearly, but not as clear yet because they're still getting worked on. So art has a whole new meaning of seeing the world and the bright colors and rainbows and unicorns. I see them also differently now.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. How did we go from, drawing on your living room floor to now where we're starting to develop skills at a more serious level?
Um, okay. Well, that goes back to high school. See, I've met my husband. We've been high school sweethearts since we were 15 years old. So he always told me I was one of them kids where backstory is I didn't end up growing up with my mother. She ended up doing some things. She was locked away for 9 years of my life. So between the age of 9 and 19, I didn't see her. I had to grow up with someone else, which wasn't the ideal situation. I was pulled from both of my parents, my mother and my father. They wouldn't give my father rights to see me, so I was stuck with an auntie. But my outlet still was art. It's always been art. It's always been a way for me to escape reality as far as drawing and going into my own little world. But I started off at Flow Valley. I lost my financial aid in 2001. So I had to stop. I got discouraged and then go back to school into 2005. And I went to Forest Park. But I was originally, my goal was, because when I was in high school, I'm going back again. When I was in high school, I've always did art all 4 years of high school. That was my way of escaping everything that I was going through. I did a piece that was modeled after Tupac's "Keep Your Head Up" song. It ended up winning and being displayed at UMSL for like a year and a half. It was up there. And then I finally got it back and I lost it. So I no longer have it anymore. But it also made our school, I went to Normandy, singing high. Normandy Vikings, yes, baby. Uh, um, I had so much fun. There were so many different art spirits and music and growing up in the 90s, the early 2000s. But I ended up going to Forest Park. I, I went to Forest Park. My goal was to always get up at UMSL because my grades went to par in high school. I played around my first 2 years, didn't really take it that serious. Didn't know they was gonna go back to sophomore, freshman year when they look at you for college and stuff like that, especially in university. Didn't realize that. Realized it later. Got my stuff together. But I went to Forest Park. I did a general transfer, transferred over and went and did my major at UMSL to where I didn't go into graphic design right away. I minored in it. I had still had more love for photography then. So I went into photography and worked at their lab. But then I lost my brother. He died in 2005, and he was most proud of me going to UMSL. That's all he told my little sister at UMSL, my little sister at UMSL. He was so proud of me going. So after he died, I went into a depression. I couldn't finish going there, but I went back to Forest Park to where I met my best friend, and who's still my best friend to this day. Of I don't know how many years now, but we were in photography together. But I've always had my love for art. So I went back to graphic design when I went back to Forest Park. I did triple major. I did photography, graphic design, and I also did fine arts. So I did both of those for quite a while and worked. I was the that's all you see me was in the graphic lab. I was the tech for the graphic lab. I worked the graphic lab. I kept it open. I kept it running to where I also got the opportunity to work in the photo lab. And then at one point, I ran the art gallery for Forest Park as well. So I've done a lot of things in a short period of time, but then also I stopped because a paper does not deform me. I'm 3 credits away from those 3 degrees, unfortunately. But I just started in 2011. I started CIG Designs to where I felt that I was, because I was working at the graphic back again. Backtrack again. I was working at the graphic lab. My teacher slash mentor said, "Hey, we got an in-house design graphic design studio. Why don't you join the class and work there?" I stayed there for 2 semesters, ended up being a lead. So I was getting paid for doing projects with people that needed small graphic design work. I also worked for the school newspaper, being their graphic on their graphic editing team as well. So I worked for the scene, go the scene at FOPO, baby. FOPO is the when it came to art, they let us express fully. So I love my teachers there. I had a black mentor there. I think now he teaches painting with a twist. His name is Sean. So yeah, but that's a little bit about me and my art journey that I'm still on. I started to CIG Designs in 2011, and I stopped for a little minute because I got sick. in 2005, but then I started back up, and then now I have CIG Designs, and I also have a co-business with my husband, a clothing line called CIG Designs Apparel. So yeah, that's what we're into now, which we're still trying to get that off the ground and going, and website coming soon for the apparel part. CIG Designs has a website already. It's just long and it's a website because I'm poor and I can't afford to host it. But yeah, that's a little bit about me and my backstory. And yeah.
Thank you so much. Man. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. Let's elaborate on that. Tell me a little bit more about maybe how art has kind of helped you heal from some of those challenging situations in your life.
Uh, First, art has helped me heal in a way that, okay, first of all, it's art and I'm a cannabis advocate foremost. And if it wasn't for cannabis, music, and art, I would not be here today. I was one of them 90s kids that said, "Oh, I'm not gonna make it to 40. What's 40? That's old. I'm not gonna make it there for I'm living my life to the day. I'm doing with, staying out to the street lights come on. We taking them event, I was doing that age to where you can go and take them adventures around different neighborhoods, and your parents and stuff wouldn't really trip off of you just as long as they knew who you was with and maybe in a vicinity where you was going and stuff like that. And we really got to do whatever we wanted to do. So I'm from that age. As far as like art, I kind of started off doing like abstract and like drawing 101 Dalmatians and Lion King, and because I got a little brother in 2005. I mean, no, how old is that boy? 1995, right when Lion King and all that stuff came out. So Spider-Man, and he's a big, huge fan of that. Annoying, but yeah. So I just kind of that, and then as art progressed on, as doing stuff, I'm one of them artists. Like, if you give me your idea, I'm not gonna do a whole lot of sketches for you. I've already thought in my head the idea of where I want to go and what you're like really going for. And usually my idea and my thought is right on. And I don't have to do a whole lot of sketching and going back and stuff like that. Cause I'm one of them. I, for some reason, I never grew up. So I'm still a big kid. So I still have a very vivid imagination. So, my husband's like, you ain't, hey, I'm a Toys R Us kid, baby. I grew up in the Toys R Us era, That's just what it is.
Okay, so some we might be able to bond on is that kind of like that sense of adventure that you kind of have, like I really love St. Louis. Like I think St. Louis has some of the most unique neighborhoods, some of the most unique cultural aspects. Like one day I swear I'm gonna live in a St. Louis red brick home. Like
I actually grew up in one of them 3-story St. Louis homes in the city. That was my childhood. I grew up in one of those until like I was 5, and then we moved to the county into one of them stone homes and stuff like that. But
right.
yeah, I grew up in right in the middle, like off of Grand, right in the hood on the north side, ground by Fairground Park. And too bad all our little stuff like that is gone now. It's so gone. My stepdad actually grew up in Kinlock. He grew up with Jennifer Lewis and her family.
Right.
So yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. My uncle was one of the members of 100 Black Men for a long time. So a lot of my childhood, I used to go to the Black Expo every year and sit in 100 Black Men meetings and stuff like that. So yeah, I've done a lot.
So as much as I want to get into the artwork, I'm just kind of enthralled by your story growing up. It seemed like especially the time period and the place were two important factors of like you becoming the person that you are today?
I'm an 80s baby. So, that time period, it's nothing like them 80s growing up in St. Louis in the 80s, man. It was a little bit of a slower pace, still more of a family friendly where, neighbors got together for them block parties, them barbecues, them end of the summer big jammy jams and everybody just hanging out and or if your mama had to work late, a neighbor down the street that had the kids will pick you up from school. You would sit there, they would feed you until your mama got home, and then you go home and probably do your homework, or you had the birthday parties in the backyard with the homemade pizza and my mama used to play. I had an Atari. So my mom used to sit there and play the video games with us, used to beat the shit out of us and Pac-Man and shit. You be sitting there trying to play. Mama, can I play? Hold on, just give me 1 minute. Just let me die first before I first man beat the whole game. We be sitting there like we don't want to play no more. Can we just go outside and ride our bikes now or something? This some bullshit. Like who told you to play the whole game with one? The whole game would never die. I had about like 15 of them after that because she would never die and just keep going. Be like, I don't want to play with you no more. She was also an athlete, so this was before the WNBA. If the WNBA was around her time, she would have been in it. She would definitely have been in the WNBA. She was 5'5" forward that dominated everything. Was out of town and yep, Iris Galvin. She's one of the ones you got to look up from the 60s and the 70s that was dominating women's basketball in St. Louis. She one of the ones. I love my mommy. My auntie, my favorite auntie, I called her TT. Even grown, I called her TT. She always encouraged me to do my art. She was always the ones that bought me the Christmas presents, the easels, the colored pencils, and when it was time for me to go get all my stuff for school, no matter if it was photography, graphic design. Okay, which store we need to go to? What we got to get? When thumb drives first came out and they was like $150. Okay, which one we got to get? Which one you need for class and this and that. She was always a big supporter on anything that I've done in my life. Too bad she's gone now, but she died in 2008. But she was always the big supporter and the cheerleader that I have. Besides my mother and my husband, um, they have always been the big supporter in my life that I've had growing up. Was my auntie and my mother. Even though she was locked away in a cage, she still managed to always, she would send me artwork, or I still would go see her and show her my artwork or tell her what I'm working on. Or when it got close to her being released, she started doing them weekend visits. She would see my art hanging on my wall in my room and all that stuff. So even now, she still encouraged me with the clothing line. She has one of the first T-shirts we put out for our brand, which is "Yes, I'm Blessed." T-shirts that me and my husband put out. She has one, and so yeah, women have always been a strong figure in my life. My big cousin used to fly me to Chicago every summer just so I can see a different scenery and go up there with her and her husband. She was a chemist, which still is a chemist for Sherman Williams, and he's an architect for the city of Chicago. So I would go around with him drawing buildings and doing all because originally when I was a kid I was like I'm gonna be an architect. I'm not good in math, so yeah, that I can count. I can do basic multiplication, and I can add and subtract. But as far as all them different angles and stuff, your house would be crooked if you left it to me. It would not be level and straight. I can draw it pretty. I can make the inside. I can do interior design. But as far as building it, mm-mm. But that is one of my goals, though, to have a non for profit with my husband to helping the unhoused. I want to do container, um, basically self sustainable villages for the unhoused. When we start our non for profit, which is going to be called CNS Projects. So one of these days, we'll be able to start that soon to help the unhoused and also help people transitioning from prison back into normal society, to figuring out how to do stuff like that, and also mentoring kids that have parents who are incarcerated, because sometimes you just want somebody to listen to you, and have somebody else that can understand what you're going through to really talk to. So that's and also tech literacy in the Black community. We are far too behind the rest of the races, as far as tech in every home, internet and Wi-Fi in every home. Every child should have access to a computer and internet to use for research and school projects and to do homework on. So yeah, those are about two, three projects that I really want to get into in the future.
I'm blown away by how much you want to give back. I mean, that's like a rare that's a rare thing. You don't really often see that, especially, like dealing with the challenges that you've dealt with, being from the environment that you're from. Like they often say it's a dog eat dog world out there.
Mm-hmm.
Have you managed to turn that into something that you can use to help uplift others and give others maybe what you didn't have?
Credit is actually me being me and the person that I am. I have my dark days, don't get me wrong, but I'm usually the goofy, uplifting one that people usually come to. And also my husband, my right hand man. I have my best friend on my left side and my husband on the left. I kid them every day. I was like, we like a sister wife um relationship. My husband loves her to death, knows she's not going anywhere, and it all works together. But really, my husband is really the rock and keeps me level headed and the person that I am, due to the fact that we've been together since we were 15 years old. So um, he knows me better than anybody. He knows me and knew that, and he's always encouraged me to stay on my path of following my dreams. This has always been my dream of becoming a successful. I've always said I want to be rich, but I don't want to be famous. I have no business being in Hollywood at all. So yeah.
Okay, so one of the kind of key differences that you pointed out was, like I really struggled in school as well. That's like a big part of my story. Having ADHD and like not quite knowing where I fit. But I've always had that like really creative side, and I'd like see that too. You describe that childlike imagination. I think is one of the most valuable things.
It's very, very, very valuable to keep your childlike imagination, because we go through this world of being an adult every day that we thrown into, that we never knew what we see our parents go through the stuff of everyday life, but they never really showed us the struggle of going through an adult of everyday life, to where you don't know if you're gonna be able to pay this bill this week, or you got enough money to put gas in your car, or just so happens some idiot driving crazy and tears up the only line of transportation that you have, and you never really get to recover from that, which is part of my story. um, um, that you just got to keep moving on and keep going and keep striding to be your best in this fucked up world that we live in, through all the turmoil, the school shootings, the birthday party shooting the other day that just happened. They killed them people. I actually went to school with the father of the boy that was killed in the Alabama shoot, school shooting. We went to junior high together. Um, know him to this day still. We talk Apple geek shit all the damn time. He's actually going to school to be a lawyer, and now he got to interrupt his stuff that he got to do because someone decided to murder his child, to where he got to go down there and bury his child in the midst of him becoming a lawyer. that's that's what I try to escape sometimes when I do my art. Um, the the reality of this shitty ass world that we live in on a daily basis is horrible. But then on the other hand, I want to have an RV to travel and see the beautiful things of the world, Niagara Falls, all that shit that they say gonna be gone within the next so many years because of global warming and people not recycling. And I'm a big person of that too. I use a sustainable water bottle on a daily basis. I try to recycle. I carry around my own silverware to not use plastic silverware and stuff like that. I use glass and all the rest of that stuff. I want to get into gardening and composting and all that stuff. So I don't know. I'm a weird earth human. I don't know. I wear Birkenstocks. I wear Crocs. I wear Jordans. I don't know. I'm not a typical black person. I don't like to be put into a typical or labeled up under normal society. So yeah.
I personally like I struggle with that a lot, like all the time, from mentors to friends. Like I've had the conversation hundreds of times of like, I don't know if I quite fit into the mold of like, and especially coming from an environment from like where we come from. It's like
Mm-hmm.
being a nonconformist could get you hurt. It could get you in serious trouble. So to be different and to make the conscious choice to be different, that's a commodity and it makes you strong and I commend you for that.
See, my mother has always been different. I learned fashion. I learned being yourself from her. So that's all and my father as well. I mean, I'm only 5 foot, so both of them are short. So he's one of the ones that never told me, you don't never let nobody dull your light. Don't ever let anybody belittle you or tell you what you cannot do because of your size and your upbringing or your race. And the same thing with my mother. She was in cage, but she never let that cage define her. She wanted to be brightest, goofiest. Even when she got out of her situation, she went right back to school. She went to Forest. At one point in time, me and her were going to school together. I would see her at school. We would go home together, and we actually had a class together too at one point in time as well. But she ended up going to her stove, so that was like the proudest moment to where she still never let her downfalls and struggles for a little bit of her life defined her. And that's what I also tried to do for me, even now going through my recent eye troubles of going blind and regaining my sight. When I was clear enough to see, even though if I have to be so close to the screen, I still managed to draw to keep myself sane. And I think that's when I actually started the shorty piece, the So St. Louis. The show. I mean, I always grew up with Shorty. I've heard him since he's been on the radio as a little kid. I still call him Shorty. I don't call him Reggie's son. So that's what I always called him. So I mean when he was on 106 in Park, and I like to follow positive people that set our city for positive. Even though when he left and went to Detroit, but he came back, he always repped the hometown. So that was always a thing for me. And then he just seeing him, I haven't met him in person yet. We haven't actually been able to link in person, but we talked through Messenger on Instagram. I've actually talked to him, and I talked to the actor Jason Mitchell. I also did a piece on him as well. So both of them actually have copies of their pieces that I did of them. I sent them both of them their copies of the pieces that I did of them. Jason Mitchell reposted me with the piece that I did of him. Shorty reposts me every time he sees it. He reposts it on his story or something like that. Um, I didn't got reposted by Spike Lee when I did my Do the Right Thing back in the day on Twitter. I didn't got a pound and stuff from Outkast, from Big Boy from Outkast, from when I did Outkast back in the day. I didn't got retweeted by Finish Line. Adobe didn't had my stuff on their page. My bad, I got distracted by the stupid news. It's so depressing. Because every day we hear about somebody dying here. Hit and run, shooting, break in. That's all we hear on the news. Just sometimes I just wish we had a news station that only promoted the positive things that go around in St. Louis. How about let's promote all the up and coming small businesses that are popping up everywhere around the city, especially the Black businesses that are popping up everywhere around this city, especially in Ferguson, where it was mostly white dominated at one point in time, to where all you see down that block is Black businesses now, and I love it. Love it. Especially Black women businesses. A Black woman is the lowest of the low on the totem pole when it comes to anything. That's why I also try to let my light shine as bright as I can and give you a big fuck you when you tell me I can't, or I'm in a white male dominant field and I should not be here where I am. I say a fuck you, and who the fuck is you to tell me what I can and cannot do? So that's how I've always lived my life, to where people think, or back when I first was getting notarized, I did a lot of shoe art, because I'm an '80s baby. I grew up in the Jordan era. I mean, I was right in the midst of it. My first pair of Jordans were the Bug Bunny fives. We just so happened to, yeah.
Okay, hold on.
And we were in Chicago. So, when you go up to Chicago, Jordans are cheaper up there when he was playing up
Really?
there. They were like $50 cheaper. My
Really?
mom was like, "No, we're gonna just wait until we get back home to get you the Jordans." Got back home, they were $100. I said, "See, I told you should have got my shoes up there in Chicago." So yeah, yeah. My first pair of Jordans were the Bugs Bunny sevens, and I love them shoes. I had them for a long time until somebody stole them from me. Couldn't fit them, but yeah, I'm gonna get them again when they come back out one of these days. Hopefully, I have some money. The quality not gonna be the same, but yeah, it's something about that
Way
buckle.
down.
Man, way down for us. I wear a size 7, 7.5. Technically, I'm still supposed to be in little kids' feet, but yet they didn't put my stuff over in them big ass men's sizes, and I can't never find my damn shoe. And they cost 100 to 200 to 230. I'm not paying that much for no shoe. I'm from the era of Air Force Ones was only $40 before Black low side forces
Of
was
course.
my work shoes. $40. $40. That's it. My brother also used to hang out with Chinky. So I have
Really?
I have pictures of my brother with Chinky
Wow.
from back in the day. Yeah.
No way.
Yes, I
That's
do.
only St. Louis for you. That's
Yes,
only
I
STL.
do. So yeah. I don't think he remembered, but yeah. Yeah, I
Wow.
have them. I post them every now and then when I do a throwback Thursday or something, or remembering. I may post them when it comes up near my brother's birthday on May the 5th. But yeah. hmm He used to go to the Chinky shows when they was out of town. They'd be all hanging out in the hotel rooms and everything. Yep.
That's something else. That's something.
Yeah. I had fun. I had fun.
So tell me about your art. What does it mean to you?
My art now has a totally different meaning after regaining my sight. It's more passionate for one. Um, I've always been more of the realism type of drawer, to where I like to, if my eyeball see it, I'ma draw it. So my art now really focus on, due to the fact that I'm an '80s and '90s baby and kid. I focus a lot on Black culture doing then. I'm redoing my Do the Right Thing piece on my tablet. I'm also redoing my Martin piece. I have a poetic justice piece that I'm working on. I'm a huge one of my favorite movies is Love Jones. So I just posted the other day my drawing and piece that I did of Lorenz Tate and Love Jones. I'm centered around Black culture, Black excellence. Excuse me, I get tongue tagged due to my St. Louis accent, but Black excellency and just and if I think you cool or you just down, you was down with us. Like I'm working on a Betty White piece, a Little Shop of Horrors. I love Mac Miller and what he stood for before his untimely death. I have a nip piece I'm working on as well. I have Biggie. I due to the fact that I'm an artist and my mind be all over the place, I have a lot of unfinished artwork that's all over. Eventually next year, I will be doing my first solo art show somewhere in St. Louis. Don't quite know yet. That's still to be announced, but I will do my first solo art show. Hopefully, I can get Shorty to come and see his piece in person. I may print that on canvas. Um, my artwork looks like it's hand, but it's all digital at this point. Um, I no longer do anything by pen and paper yet. Again, I may eventually go back to it because that's always my love for it is good old paper and pen. And I don't really do too much painting because I'm a prissy girl and a germaphobe. So I don't really like getting messy. But I can see myself going into painting or eventually dabbling off into the tattoo world because I like to do a lot of color. And I'm one of the people that do know the different values of mixing color and stuff like that on black skin to what's gonna pop on us, to what's going to complement us and your skin tone very well. So I may be looking out to CIG designs getting into the tattoo world within the next year or two as well. But yes, my art is just in the future continuing to show us in a positive light and progress us more with me as being an artist and my clothing brand that I have right now. Right now it's 420 geared because, like I said, I'm a cannabis advocate. So right now our shirts are 420 geared and Cardinal geared. So I love my Cardinals. I am a Cardinals fan. Kind of mad because I was gonna wear my Cardinals shirt for the interview today. I could not find it. So I was a little mad about that. I was gonna wear my jersey, but I was like, I don't want to throw y'all with that Cooper Town jersey, that Ozzie Smith, baby. You know,
That's a throwback.
I ain't
That's a throwback.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's gonna still just gear around the black culture, black community, black excellency. Um, I'm also working on one of my favorite people. Hope, I hope I get to meet her one day. Whoopi Goldberg. Um, she's a big influence on my life growing up as well. Seeing her on TV and her one woman shows and just watching those growing up. Seeing a darker brown girl on TV has always influenced me. I love me some Whoopi Goldberg, and then they never gave her too much credit. Everybody always called her ugly, but I think she's beautiful in her own light, and her dreads were always, and her fashion sense, baby. She would wear a fucking gown with some Reeboks.
Mm.
She used to wear the Reeboks back in every fucking color. She had them Reeboks on, baby. People don't realize that. What?
Mm.
Cold, cold. But yeah, I would love to meet her if I ever get into the circle of Hollywood. I would love to meet Whoopi one day. That is the only one I want to really meet is Whoopi. But yeah, that's just where I see me going in the future, just continuing to do what I love on a daily basis, and hopefully soon it'll be making me some beautiful money so I can travel this world and be able to spread my art around the world one day. So yeah, that's just you just stay on the lookout for me.
Absolutely. And that leads perfectly into really our last question, and that is, where can we find you? How can we support your work and your vision?
You can find me on most of the social medias. Really, I post more on Instagram. But on everything that you can find me on is CIG Designs. So that's Instagram. I have a Facebook fan page. That's Twitter. You can go on Twitter now. Twitter is the raw and down and dirty to me now. You can't just don't hold me against me for what I post because some of them are my feelings and my emotions at that time. They come out. I'm on TikTok. I don't have anything on my YouTube yet, but YouTube will be coming soon, maybe with a comedy video with me and my best friend just smoking and doing reactions to different things to you'll just see me being goofy and my normal self as normal. But yeah, mostly Instagram and Facebook. My fan page is really where I'm the most active at. Instagram or Facebook and get your order. They're as low as 25 and $35. But yeah, and we're also trying to get equipment to where we can start doing our clothing brand ourselves. Yeah, that's a little bit about me and my spiel, and hope y'all enjoyed me today. Thank you for interviewing me.
Thank you so much for allowing us to be here to share, take part in your story. Like, it genuinely means a lot from the bottom of my heart. Couldn't be more thankful to have you here.